Go ahead.
if somebody said, for example, like I'm like criticizing them, and they just start telling me, oh, like what? Okay, yeah, you want to criticize me? Like, what's your argument for the law of non-contradiction being correct or something like that? I mean, I'm not really sure that there is an argument for that
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
could
but
be
what's
given, and
your
if there is,
argument
I
for that?
no, I don't have an argument. I mean, there might be an argument for that exists, but I haven't heard it. I mean,
Well,
presumably,
are you justified in believing it, though?
I mean, if by justification you just mean do I have an argument for it? No,
Is there an inference going on?
but what?
Is there an inference going on?
No, I don't think there would be an inference
Do
for
you
it.
have an argument for
I
phenomenal conservatism?
um I don't well see so when you're talking about like having arguments for things like phenomenal conservatism, I'm not exactly sure what kind of argument you would need, right? Because presumably phenomenal conservatism is just like a principle that someone can choose to adopt, right? They could just say, well, we think that holding, if something is true, seems true intuitively, and there's no good reason to reject it, right? Then we could say, yeah, that person is okay for thinking that, right? I mean, it's like asking, like, what's your argument for a particular moral framework, right?
Well, okay, so if it's
Um,
just a principle, then I wouldn't say it's epistemic justification, would you?
um, well, again, I mean, like, what do you mean by justification?
Well, I take justification to require an inference, but it's going to be something that raises the probability that your belief is true. And I don't know why having a seeming would or an intuition would raise the probability that your belief is true. Do you think that it does?
Um, so it depends on exactly what the seeming is. In some cases, I think the answer would probably be yes. Like, for example, if it seems like there's a water bottle on the table, it is more likely that there's a water bottle on the table, even though it might not be likely. But given that you have that intuition or that seeming, it is going to be more likely than had you not had it at all.
Okay, look,
Um,
I'm not okay, that's fine. I'm not let's you're trying to go to like perceptual seemings, though. That's not the kind of seemings I'm talking about. I'm talking about non-perceptual, like intuitions, like your intuition that the law of logic is true.
yeah, so um I'm not exactly sure there. I don't think the intuition itself raises the problem. Well, does it raise the probability? Well, I guess the intuition does to some extent raise the probability. Because if the law of non-contradiction really did apply universally, it sort of would make sense that we would have the intuition that
Wait,
because
how the
everything
fuck
in
would you
our
know it applies universally?
no, no, but
Just
I'm
because it
saying
seems that way?
if no, 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 I'm saying if it applied universally, we would expect there to be this intuition. So I'm saying
Oh,
the fact
why?
that you have the intuition does what?
Oh, wait, let me think about that.
Oh, why? Yeah, because everything that you experience would like
No,
conform.
why would you expect your why would you expect your experience to reflect what reality really is and not have a mis misperception?
I mean, presumably in this case, to misperceive would be to perceive a contradiction, right? But if even if you had a perception of a contradiction or a misperception of a contradiction, content of that misperception was in itself a contradiction, then presumably the law would be false, right?
Everything
Like for
would be
example,
false. You said, wait, I'm sorry, I didn't
no, no, I'm
follow it.
saying like if you had a like when you have a misperception, right? Presumably it's when you're perceiving something that isn't actually there, right? Or not perceiving something that is there. So if there was a case where, for
Well, it
example,
could
you
be something that's
perceived
there and it's just what word am I looking for?
distorted,
Distorted, yeah.
Yeah, well, but
Maybe the law of
distortions are just
non-contradiction bends sometimes.
yeah, but I'm saying if you perceive the law of non-contradiction bending, you're very it would mean that your the content of your perception would be a contradiction, right? Like you're perceiving something that appears like imagine if we perceive the square circle, right? Or misperceive the square circle. Well, the fact that we could even have the experience, be it veridical or not, of a square circle would in itself be a true contradiction, right? Because your experience there's a contradiction, right? Does that make sense?
I'm not sure I followed everything, but look, if it is the
Let
case
me give
that
you an example. So look, if I said, for example, if you were, for example, hallucinating or imagining that there was a square circle, right? Even though there might not be a square circle in real life, like you can't find a square circle anywhere, the fact that you can imagine a square circle, right, means that there's at least one true contradiction, right? Because the content of your imagination is a square circle. Like you're actually imagining one. Does that make sense?
um I think so, but I'm not confident. I would have trouble stating it back in my own words, which makes me think that I don't understand it.
Well, what do you think I'm saying? Like how, like if you had to try.
You're saying that we would expect, if the law of non-contradiction is true, we would expect to have that seeming because I'm thinking,
Sorry, you cut
sorry.
out.
No, I was
Well,
thinking.
what I was saying there, right? What was I saying there is simply that because you said something like what if you are misperceiving reality, right? And I'm saying that if it's the case, right, that that um the
Look,
law
if
of
everything, but wait,
non-contradiction,
no, it only
yeah.
seems to you. Wait, no, because you're like presupposing the law of non-contradiction when you're saying this stuff, because you just asserted that if like things were a contradiction, then they would be false. But that you're only saying that because it seems like that to you.
Well, of course, my answer is going to presuppose like the law of non-contradiction,
Oh,
right?
well, I don't take the law.
Otherwise,
I don't take circular justification to raise the probability that your belief is true, sir.
but I wasn't really.
Sir,
I don't know if I was giving a justification. I was just explaining something. I mean,
You were giving an inference when you were saying why we would expect seemings to raise the probability that our beliefs are true. You were making an inference.
yeah, sure, but I don't
Yeah,
think
which,
that
by the way,
that
there's more problems with
necessarily.
that because how do you know your reasoning is reliable, right?
Yeah, well, at some point we just have to like presuppose something, right?
Dog, are you saying
You
that?
can't, it's
Wait a
like
minute. Are you saying that because of like the consequences of not presupposing stuff, we're we have to presuppose stuff, therefore we're justified in presupposing stuff? Because that would be an appeal to consequence, sir. You've committed an error in reasoning.
no, that's not what no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that
Look, it
justification
doesn't
has to
matter if
start
we have
somewhere.
to, like, it doesn't matter if we have to get through life. That doesn't make it just, like, epistemically justified.
Yeah, but if that's the case, then I'm not. I mean, then nothing would just be epistemically justified.
Well, yeah, I'm an
So like, I don't.
epistemological nihilist.
Okay, I mean that's fine. But I don't really know how should I put it? Like I don't really know why you would hold to that criteria that like every single belief has to be like, justified, right?
Look, if the foundation of your worldview has no support and you try to like build scaffolding in midair and then like put wood boards on top of that, then the whole thing just collapses into absurdity.
I'm not sure why it collapses
If
into
you're not, if you don't
absurdity.
know the probability that of what the foundational beliefs are, then why would we think that the inferences you're building off those beliefs are probable? What the fuck?
Yeah, so I'm saying that
The
You know what,
fuck?
Doc?
like
I'm
you're gonna
gonna,
have
I
yeah.
didn't think that I would come out on top in this conversation, and maybe I wouldn't if we kept going, but I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead, because the replays are on.
Okay,
I
I
want to save
see
this
how it
recording.
is.
Yeah,
I see how it is.
yeah. I'm tapping out now because
But isn't that gonna
yeah.
be in the
Yeah,
replays?
no, I'll put that.
Like that you saying that?
I'm honest about that, so I'll put that in the replay. Okay, I'll put that in.
Oh, okay,
You're going
okay.
on my channel, dog.
Okay, good, good.
Dog.